Okay, let's walk. Alrighty, Alycia and Rini out for a walk. Waka waka, you can do it. There we go. I'm Alycia, founder of Positive Impact Event Consulting, and this is Rini. She's a Schnauzer Terrier Muppet mix. She really does look like the quintessential ragamuffin. This is Sustainable Events Dog Walk, a short podcast from Positive Impact Event Consulting, where you can get a quick nugget about sustainability for your events and event business while on a walk with Alycia and her dog Rini. Sustainability is a big project, but we'll get there together, one little step at a time. Alrighty. Today I'd like to talk about AI, hot topic, but I usually stay away from trying to be a super bummer on sustainability, environmentalism, human rights, all those things that sustainability encompasses that can be really depressing. We know what's going on. We don't need to talk at length about that. What we need to talk about at length is fixing things and changing our behavior. But I'd like to shed some light on AI since it is such a hot topic, since it has blown up so intensely, and now we have every service that we use, free or otherwise, implementing AI into its software voluntarily or most of the time involuntarily to the user. And I just want to cover my perspective on how the sustainability-minded person might need to keep an eye on this. So AI, big technology, it is absolutely dwarfing the internet in terms of the problem that we're going to be talking about today, which is resource allocation. AI, all right, dog, what's your plan? All right, let's walk. AI takes a lot of computing power, and therefore, correlated, it takes a lot of resources to run it. Prior to this, the next closest thing that we would have been advising everyone to be concerned about is saving all of those emails in your database, even if you don't need them, and how much cloud storage we're using for everything, including things that are pointless and unnecessary to preserve. But completely dwarfing that now is AI. AI takes huge computers and tons of processing space to run because it's a very complicated thing to do, to process all of that information and synthesize it into new information or rebuild it as something that looks new. So what it takes is huge volumes of land, absolutely enormous kilowatt hours of power, and also all that power and all those computers are generating tons of heat. Oftentimes these are set in places where the land is not expensive, so it's also possibly hot or barren areas like the desert. And it takes an absolute shed load of water to cool. So they're pumping tons of water cooling through these facilities. So it turns out that AI is a really, really, really resource heavy tool in our arsenal. And so I'm first wanted to share that, and the fact that, we stopped hearing about how during the pandemic, all of the big corporations have started announcing they're so proud of themselves that they're going to go carbon neutral by 2030. Well, funny how you haven't heard about that in the last 18 months. Because most of them, by implementing an AI into their central software, have backslid by a minimum of 60% year on year toward their goal. So we've lost tons of ground. Some of them have gone back to where they were when they set their target in terms of their carbon neutral rating. We are just absolutely losing the environmental ground to AI. So that's why this is a really big thing to think about. And AI is an amazing tool. I personally strongly dislike writing. I'm not a writer. Please never look for my book to be published. That is not the angle of communication or art that I am interested in personally. So if I can have something rewritten for me by an AI, I'm totally on board. And so I'm not advocating we get rid of this tool or stop using it, but rather reframe this tool that is AI into a more helpful perspective. Because when you are using Google, dog, what you doing? And it makes every search have an AI at the top to read the information for you, when what you were trying to find out is, what is the web address for this company? You don't need an AI for that. You just need a basic search. And same goes for Meta. whatever it is that the meta AI is doing, you probably don't need it to do, etc., etc. So what I'd like to advocate is that we think of AI as a tool, not as we think of the internet in terms of just use it all the time, it makes our lives easier, but rather think of it as one of your utilities. So we all learned in the 80s and 90s the value of turning off the lights when we leave the room. Come on, dog. We all practice turning off the water when we brush our teeth to conserve water because that's a scarce resource on the planet. Let's walk. And I want you to think of AI the same way. Do you need the water to be running the whole time you're cooking in the kitchen? No, you turn off the water because you've got to pay for that resource and because it's scarce in your community. And the same goes for your electricity. You're paying for that resource. There's potentials, we hear about rolling brownouts and the power grid and all of that stuff. Well, let's think of AI the same way. Do I need to be using an AI to gather this information for me? Or was I really just looking for a Wikipedia page? Do I really need AI to start all of this project from scratch? Or can I put in the first 2 steps worth manually? And I know that might seem silly, but honestly, it's a matter of communicating as a consumer to these platforms that are putting out this technology when it's important and we want it and when we don't, because they're tracking every keystroke. And then on the rest of your time, if you are like me and find this a very stressful topic, there are lots of ways to go around on the internet without using AI. I started by getting the browser called Ecosia. It is an eco-focused browser company that uses clean power to host, and they plant a tree for every web search. And obviously they will not be using AI in their web search capacity. So I don't go and use the Google web search anymore unless it's something too complicated for a basic old school Google, which is what Ecosia now provides because everyone has the algorithms to do that. Similarly, I'm about to move all of my web hosting that I own onto green servers that use solar power and recycled coolants and things like that to reduce the overall energy cost of my portions of the internet, because it's all got to be housed somewhere. Fun, interesting tidbit, all of the server banks to run storage and AI get so hot that Microsoft experimented with submerging a pod of servers in the ocean in an attempt to minimize their efforts to cool. Of course, computers are sensitive to water, so it created all sorts of other complications that they had to account for. But that's the level of problem solving they're having to come to when it comes to the heat and energy that these things take. So I just want to give you some perspective and some agency to make your own choices. Let me know what you think. When are you going to keep using AI? When are you going to ditch AI out of your procedures? I think that's the sort of thing that's worth noting as a disclaimer. This, we've started seeing it for ads and graphics and things when artists might be displaced from the economy. But you can also put it in lots of interesting places. So let me know what you think. If you have any questions for the podcast, please submit them on my Google form or to the email listed in the podcast notes. Thanks for joining me on Sustainable Events Dog Walk. I'm Alycia Drube, founder of Positive Impact Event Consulting, and I want to help you integrate sustainability into your event business so you're ready to make every event you work on more sustainable. See you next time. I keep recording episodes with my microphone not fully activated. Let's see if I can remember all the things that I've said. Hello, testing. Hello, oh goodness. 3 lost recordings due to microphone misuse. Please just record. Thank you. Okay.